Colossians chapter 2, one of the most popular verses that people bring up to me, says this, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day or of a new moon or the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Messiah." So he's telling us, do not let anybody judge you on these things. The question that is very important for us to ask is this, is he saying don't let them judge you for not keeping it, or don't let them judge you for the way that you are keeping it? Both very valid questions. Let's find out what the context is going to suggest by backing up to verse 8, which gives it all away. Beware, before he gets to verse 16, he says in verse 8, "Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ." So right here, and matter of fact, he's going to say it again in verse 20. "Since you died with Messiah to the basic principles of this world, why, as though you still belong to it, the world, do you submit to its rules, the world's rules? Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch. These are all destined to perish with the use, because they are based on human commands and teachings." They are based on human commands and teachings. So we are seeing that Paul is warning his converts in the book of Colossians that there's going to be a group of people that are going to come up to you and they're going to judge you, and they're going to try to get you to do things their way, using the traditions and the doctrines of men. If we interpret Colossians 2:14 through 16 as saying that this group of people is trying to get Paul's converts to keep the Sabbath, we know for an absolute fact that the Sabbath is the fourth commandment from Yahweh. It is not a tradition or a doctrine of men. It is not philosophy. It is not vain deceit. It never does it say to worship angels or cut themselves, as the rest of the chapter goes and talks about. All of these laws that Paul is against are the extra traditions and the doctrines of men that they made up, that he's against. Okay? So now Colossians chapter 2:16 is thrown out the window, because now we realize that he is not talking about the biblical Sabbath. He's talking about them imposing the doctrines and traditions of men. Let's continue. "It is much more likely that the Judaizers are judging the new converts for not keeping the Sabbath the way that they keep it." Do you remember in the same context, he says, hey, I wish that they would, and I think it's Galatians. He says, I wish they'd just go and emasculate themselves, because all they're trying to do is put a notch on their belt. They're trying to say that these converts belong to us. They're our students. We're the rabbis. We've been around a lot longer. Paul's a maverick. We're up in council in Jerusalem. We are the circumcision party. We know what we're doing, and that's how they're beginning to become a nuisance to Paul's. Every time he goes out of town, they're coming in town, and he's warning them, don't do things the way that they do them. Do them according to the commandment. Like Jesus said, do what they tell you to do from Moses' seed, but don't do what they do.